Hello everyone, Megan here, the Healing Foods Coach. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. For all of you who are taking time out of your busy days to watch this video and my other content, thank you. For the many of you who are subscribed, I appreciate your support and I thank you so much for following me and for sharing your stories as well. Thank you so much. So today's topic, well, I guess it's a topic. It's a sort of a topic. I've called today's video things that I'm learning. Now, I don't mean what I'm learning from self-education, from, say, any online modules I've done or anything like that, although I've learned a lot from that way as well. I'm talking about the things that I think I should have learned about myself a long time ago, and yet for some reason, I haven't, and it's only just kind of hitting me now. I'll give you for an example. Okay, so yesterday I felt incredibly fatigued and wiped. I had very little energy. I got the dogs out for their daily walk, which is amazing. Of course, it was a rest day from my swimming at the pool, so I didn't go to the pool yesterday. Like I said, I did get the dogs out for the walk, and then I spent a long periods of the day just feeling really fatigued and wiped. Now, I know part of that is obviously because of my kidney disease. A large part of that is also because I did go swimming the day before after 2 weeks of not swimming, and so of course my body's going to be adjusting to that different form of exercise. And that all plays a part. You know, I slept pretty well. The dogs really didn't get me up except for once in the middle of the night, as they do normally anyway. So my initial thought, though, when I felt wiped yesterday was, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to be ready to go back to work full time if I feel fatigued like this every day? And that, of course, got me feeling a bit anxious. And that, of course, anxiety for many of us not only keeps our mind whirling along, but it also causes exhaustion and fatigue. Our cortisol levels go up, our adrenals start to work overtime, and not only that, but when you do have a crash from it, from what I understand, is it leaves you feeling even more tired. So anxiety ramps us up and then wipes us out, at least in my experience. So I had all of this going on yesterday, and instead of stopping and thinking logically, because of course, at least me, maybe you guys are better at this than I am, but in my personal life experience, when you're in the middle of feeling anxious or exhausted or fatigued or wiped out, whatever it might be, it's really hard to see past that, even though logically, if we gave our minds a chance to think through the situation, we would realize this is a moment in time. This doesn't mean it's all the time, every day, in all circumstances, because when I went swimming the day before, I felt really good. I felt great about it. I had more energy that day. So yesterday, all of a sudden, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going back to work full time in a couple weeks. I'm going to be back on a full-time working schedule. You know, I'll be up at 7, have to be at work by 9, which is, again, not an issue. And I am excited and I'm looking forward to it and being with other adults, getting out of the house regularly. All of those good, positive things I'm ready for and I can't wait to do. And then I had this anxious thought and it bothered me. And the more I kind of let it fester in my mind, the more fatigued I felt, which shouldn't have surprised me, but it did. And what I came to realize, sorry, that's the sound of my dog scratching for his ball underneath something in the other part of the room. Yeah. But what I do understand, one moment. It became this whole thing in my mind, and I worried. I was like, what if I can't do this? What if I'm not really ready? What if I'm doing too much? Instead of stepping back and acknowledging the fact that I'm feeling a bit tired. I was feeling a bit tired yesterday, as I said, one, because I'd gone swimming the day before, not a excessive amount, but I hadn't done it at all for a couple of weeks. And so I was using muscles I hadn't used for a couple weeks. And so I felt it. That's normal, right? That's pretty normal. Nothing earth shattering or life changing, but that was where I was at. That's how I was feeling. And the crazy thing is, when I let myself just relax yesterday, other than walking my dogs, I didn't do a whole lot. And I'm somebody who finds it very hard to unwind and fully relax. I think partly because I could do nothing for so many years. I always feel like I've got to find something to do with my day. I've got to be cleaning or doing laundry or washing the dishes, and that's not because nobody else will. If I asked, my husband and my son would be right on it, happy to help. It's because I feel like, for whatever crazy reason, I have to make up for the 10 years, basically, where I couldn't do anything. Well, okay, 9 years, because for the past year, I've been doing a whole lot more. But for 8 to 9 years, I couldn't do anything. And it's as if I feel guilty over something that was outside of my control. And somehow I've got to earn it back, which is ridiculous. It is. I know it is up here most days, right? And I wanted to share that because I'm guessing I'm not the only person who struggles with these feelings. So here I was feeling bad because yesterday I was feeling a bit fatigued. I was feeling lonely because my husband and son are away on a 2-week adventure together, a guy's time trip, which is amazing for them. And I'm glad they're able to do that. My husband had this time before work and they could take this break together. And I'm glad they've gone and done this. And I know they're having a fantastic time. But as I've shared in my other video, I've never been in the house on my own for this amount of time, just me. I've always had one or both my sons with me if my husband's traveled. And so it's a new thing. And here I was trying to find ways to try to fill up my day so I would enjoy my time, which is great. It's a blessing. Like, not that I want him to be away. Let me make sure you understand. Like, let me be clear. I love my husband, love my son. And me getting the house to myself, yes, I can watch what I like. I can read what I feel like when I want, and it's great. But looking for ways to keep my mind active, not anxious, active, but also do something physically. And it's amazing, but I didn't know what to do with myself, is what I'm saying. Okay. Part of me felt guilty because here I am in much better health, feeling much better physically, able to do a lot of things. And yet I didn't feel like doing a whole lot yesterday. And so I felt guilty. And what I'm learning, first of all, is those are old bad habits and thought patterns, and something I am working through, something I am trying to break through, because it's going to affect me, not just with work, not just with overall life in general, but it's going to affect me and I don't want it to. And so that was one thing I learned. And, I had to step back and realize that what would help me is just a few simple things that should have made sense and I should have known, but I was not in a mental state to do so. Okay, so here I am getting to the point of it. So this morning, the dogs got me up at 7, which is when they always get me up because that's when they're used to being fed. Fine, I got up and I fed them and I felt tired. And my initial first thought was, oh no, I feel so exhausted. I'm going to be fatigued today. I wanted to get to the pool. See, I'm trying to find ways to get out of the house and put activity into my day, things that are fun and that I enjoy, but that help the time to pass. So I'm not sitting here too deep in my own thoughts and my own worries, but I'm out and enjoying life because I can, because I don't have any other obligations, and that's how it ought to be. But the first thing I did, and I don't know why I hadn't done it before, But I actually made a point, once I opened all the curtains in the living room and I opened the drapes, in my room, and made sure there was as much natural light as possible. It was still pretty dark out this morning. Normally I would sit with the two, well, we have a small, like a lamp that goes in the corner, and like a reading light that's just above the sofa where I usually sit. Even when they're both on together, they still only offer very soft, low yellow light, which is great in the evening when you want something sort of calm and not overly bright and you're trying to get your brain to calm down. But I realized all this time I was being counterproductive because it was not allowing me to feel awake. It was not allowing me to think, oh, it's daylight. Again, I would have stepped outdoors, but it was still black. It was still pretty, the sky was still pretty black when I got up this morning. And so the sun hadn't risen. And so that wasn't an option. So what I did is I turned on the main overhead lamp, or the main overhead light. And that's a super bright white luminous bulb. And that was all I needed. And instead of sitting in semi-dark, which again, if it was evening and I'm trying to get my body, believing, hey, it's nighttime, it's time to start winding myself down, it's time to start getting ready for bed. I'm great at finding ways to help me fall asleep. I use blue blocker, clip-on lenses over my glasses at night after I've done eating. So between 6:30 and 7, I put them on for the rest of the evening. I close the main drapes, so my body and my brain start going, oh, it's nighttime. Okay, let's start to wind down. I'm great at that. And all it took was me flipping one switch, just one switch for the bright overhead lighting in the living room. And I suddenly felt much more awake. And that was enough to kind of jumpstart my energy levels, enough to go, yeah, I'm not just wanting to get to the pool today because I've enjoyed swimming the last 2 times. And by the way, I did a few extra lengths today, which was super cool and exciting, I thought. So because I'm not going to be, because I won't be starting work for 2 weeks, I'm going to try to get to the pool at least 3 times every week before work starts. And then I'll have to go once a week on the weekends. Not a problem. But just turning on the light, just turning on that one big bright overhead light was enough to force my eyes to open up and to force my brain to go, hey, wait a minute, it's bright, must be morning. And I kept it on even when the sun started to rise because it was gray. It's been gray and overcast all day today. But you know what? It was amazing. Instead of feeling the night before like, oh my gosh, I got to walk the dogs and I want to get to the pool and I want to do all these things and overloading myself all at once for future events, I decided, you know what? I'm actually going to just focus right now on getting a good night's sleep and getting up in the morning. And yes, the dogs need to be walked, but I'm going to sit and I'm going to enjoy my morning. And if I don't get out with them till closer to 10, even though, I get up at 7, that's okay. I'm not on any schedule. I don't have to go at a specific time. There's nothing saying that I have to do that. I mean, not that there ever was, but that's just what goes on in my brain. And it was amazing. I sat there and I had on, instead of my normal like nature sounds in the background, I had some really upbeat, fast, happy, zippy, swing jazz music in the background. I love big band music. So I had a whole bunch of that playing in the background with bright overhead light in the living room as the sun started to come up. And you know what? I actually felt energized just from that. I felt energized. I kind of danced and bopped around a little bit, get the blood flowing and the energy going. I felt great. And so by the time I was ready to shower and get dressed, I was like, all right, I want to go out and walk with the dogs. It's between 20 and 30 minutes. It's not that long. It's not that far. It's just a good way to warm up my body. And I felt fantastic. And the reason I'm saying that this is something I'm learning about myself is because I've always kind of known those things would help. but I never bothered to put them into practice. And isn't that life? Right? It is. And I realized today that, you know what? I will have moments where I feel fatigue. It's just going to happen. We all have that at times. But then I also can have moments where I feel more energized. And I don't have to sit around the house trying to count down the hours until the day is done because it's just me right now with the dogs. I can get out and go places and do things and enjoy my time away and not worry about I've got to get groceries for the family or I've got to run this errand for so-and-so because it's just me. There's no pressure, which is great. So I guess what I wanted to just share with you guys is like, look, from my own perspective, this is what I've had to learn. And it's not like I've got it all completely figured out. And who knows, tomorrow morning, when I do wake up, even if I switch on the main living room light, the big one in the ceiling, you know what? I might still feel tired. I might still feel a bit fatigued. I feel pretty great right now. I feel energized. Absolutely. You know, like I said, I walked the dogs, came back to the house, had a couple of things to catch up on, got all my swimming stuff together, walked to the pool. So that's about a 2.5, 2 mile walk to the leisure center from my house. So about 20, 25 minutes. Walked there, felt great. Went swimming, felt great. Walked into town, had some brunch and a decaf, felt great, and then came home. And I'm feeling energized now, but I know that come tomorrow, I might feel a bit of a crash and that's okay. And I'm sharing that because it's something I've always known intellectually, but I've always had a hard time with accepting physically and emotionally. And I'm guessing I'm not the only person who has ever felt this or struggled with this. So I wanted to make this quick video. I hope you guys are actually having great days. It is actually Saturday. Today's October the 26th, as it happens. But I hope you guys are all doing really well. I know here in the UK and certainly in Canada, and I think in parts of the States even maybe, daylight savings is tonight. But that's okay because the clocks go back an hour, so we gain an hour. We get an hour back, which I love it. Not that my dogs will know the difference, but it'll be good. It'll be nice regardless. That's what I wanted to come back and share with you guys and make this video because, as I said, this is something it's like it just kind of sucker punched me today. Like, wait a second. I felt really wiped yesterday again because I had been swimming the day before for the first time in about 2.5 weeks. And I always have a bit of fatigue anyways because of my kidney issues. But I just didn't really want to get out and do a whole lot. And yet I felt guilty for binge watching some of my favorite shows, for wanting to sit and read my Kindle. I have a great book I'm reading. And yet that's okay. And so even though I knew in my head that it was okay to not want to do anything, I have felt for a while, certainly over these last few months of really great healing, that somehow I have to constantly be doing things to show that I'm healed, and I'm healing, and I'm feeling better, and I am, and I truly am, and I like doing things, and I enjoy doing stuff. But on the same hand, I'm trying to actually internalize the truth of the fact, which is when I do feel a bit wiped, or I do want to slow down, or I don't want to do a whole lot at once just because, that's okay too. And it's a hard thing to balance, right? But as I'm trying to figure out what the balance should be in my own life, I hope you guys are as well for yourselves. And if you're struggling with any of this as well, let me know. You know, let's support each other. Let's help each other. It seems like a weird thing maybe to share with each other or to support each other in. And yet I think it's important because especially if we've gone from a place of great chronic illness and pain and suffering to a place of healing, trying to get through and enjoy those days where we don't want to do anything, not because we feel bad, just because, hey, We just want to take it easy. Those moments still happen, and we need to acknowledge them and be okay with them, and know that just like we will still be faced with viruses and infections and injuries and so forth, in spite of the fact of being on a carnivorous diet. That those things will still happen. So will those moments where we feel just kind of wiped, or we are truly fatigued, or we've just had a busy day and we just don't want to do anything. And if we don't, that's all right too. So, not that you need my permission. I'm giving myself that permission. I'm not saying you need my permission, but I hope you give yourself permission if that's where you're at. But share your stories with me if you would like. I would love to hear from you guys and hear how you're getting on and what things you're doing or trying if you are in that situation. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your ongoing support and all your encouragement and all of your comments. As I say, I do appreciate it, and I always respond to your comments and questions. It might take me a day or two, but I always do respond. So thank you for that. I hope this is helpful. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. And until then, I hope you have great days. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.